Alrighty, so I have just woken up. The translated patch notes are out from Grand Cross Database, so we're going to go over those. Yeah, pretty interesting stuff. So if you didn't know, we did a live stream this morning for the ReZero reveal, and it was pretty interesting. And these new characters are kind of crazy, especially Reinhard. So let's go over this thing. So Echidna is a green unknown character, and her passive is: for every unknown race hero on the battlefield, increases unknown race allies basic stats by 5%. For every enemy damaged with allies skills, increases the hero's attack related stats by 4% for 3 turns up to 9 times. So she does have double AoE, so it's really easy for her to get these stacks. And I mean, from what we've seen in the PvP battle that they did, it was pretty interesting, I would say. Like, it wasn't, I don't know if she was really like super crazy good, but I mean, I don't know. They also had, Amelia on the team. They also had, Summer Merlin on the team. Obviously, she was doing damage and everything because they were facing the Bond team, and the Bond team just has so much HP that I would assume, she was the reason why they were doing, big damage and everything to those characters. But she has a Sever card. Apparently both of the characters have a Sever card, which is really weird, I think. Not really sure what the thought process is there. Because if you don't know, Sever is 3 times crit chance, which just means that you're going to crit a lot more, which is fine, I guess, but like, I don't know. It's one of this is a card that gets really easily like power crept, because as new characters come out and the game increases in longevity, new character stats always end up going up and up and up, which gets to the point to where like old characters now that have a Sever card, it's a miracle if they crit at all. So I mean, I don't really see these characters getting power crept anytime soon, but it's just one of those weird cards that I mean, it's fine, I guess. It's a fine card, but I don't know, it just means that you're gonna need to build, like an attack crit damage set for her, I guess. The other card is inflicts damage equal to 280% of attack on all enemies and infects for 2 turns at gold level. I'm pretty sure it does infect. It's an AoE infect at level 1 as well, just for 1 turn. So that's pretty interesting. And her ult is increases all allies basic stats by 20%, unknown race allies damage dealt by 35% for 2 turns, inflicts damage equal to 600% of attack on all enemies. So she is pure AoE, which I do like. I've been looking for a new like double AoE character to help with like farming and stuff like that. And she could possibly be the one, I guess. I don't know. I'll have to test her out a little bit. But now we have Sword Saint Reinhard. And Reinhard is concerning to me because he basically has like a rotating passive. He has a really annoying ultimate that you're going to want to have extra copies of course. He has he has 2 single target cards. One's a flood card, one is a sever card, but he's also an HP based character just like Bond, so he slots perfectly into the Bond team. I guess the only thing about this character that maybe he doesn't have that he might have needed, which I'm glad he doesn't have it, is he doesn't have any ult control. And I think Terry having the ult removal card was really big for the Bond team in case people just, didn't attack Arthur, just moved cards and stuff like that. But, I mean, the Bond team has a ton of HP, so even just like a regular ult, like a 1/6 ult or whatever, isn't really going to be that concerning. You're going to have like a pretty high ultimate level to get through to the team, really, in general. So, I don't know, let's talk about this guy, because he is a red human, so he's for the Bond team. At the start of the ally's turn, for 1 turn, randomly grant one of the following effects. So it's weird. Increase the hero's damage by 50%, which is pretty big. That's a huge increase. Increase all stats by 25%. Evade for 1 turn. Debuff immunity or undying buff. Undying is HP cannot drop below 1, so he can he has so much going for him. And I mean, I don't know, obviously it's all RNG, but you just know it's going to be like the most annoying thing in the world for somebody to keep rolling like the best passives that they need at the time while you're playing against them and everything. So I don't know how to feel about this one. He has some pretty crazy stuff in here, and it just rotates each time. Plus, it gets incredibly pay to win with his ultimate. So looking at his cards, he has a single target flood card, which is good, of course, I guess. 30% of maximum HP to 1 enemy, so you're definitely going to want to build this guy with HP crit damage. Inflicts sever damage equal to 35% of max HP on 1 enemy, so good critting, still on HP. I don't know, like I said with the sever card, same thing applies. That could be power crept in the future, I don't know. The ultimate is not good. I mean, it's really good, but it's not good for like free to play players and stuff like that. Exclude the buff granted by unique. Grant another 1 of the following effects, and then, you know, it's his passive again. Inflicts damage equal to 20% of max HP on all enemies. That's at 1/6. At 3/6, excludes the buff you already have. Grants 2 of the following effects. 3 of the following effects at 5/6. 4 of the following effects at max level. And if you don't understand what this means, basically, the turn that you get your ultimate, you're going to roll one of his passives. Say you roll increases the hero's damage by 50%. You now have a 50% damage increase. That's fantastic. Your ultimate's going to do more damage. At 6/6, you're not only going to already have the damage increase, but it's going to give you each of the other buffs that each of the other passive buffs that he could have had. So at 1/6, you could roll, you know, increases stats, or evade, or debuff immunity, or undying buff. But at 6/6, you already have the damage, you know, increase from your passive, so it's going to give you increases all stats by 25%, and evade, and immunity, and undying. So he gets all of the buffs that he would have from his passive, which is just insane. Like, that's so crazy, because his buffs are like really good. I mean, obviously, like debuff immunity, undying, you know, evasion, those aren't going to help his damage by any means, but you know, that means if he gets his ultimate off when it rotates around to his next turn, he's not only going to have, you know, increased defense stats and increased HP stats and evasion, so you can't even really hit him, or, you know, debuff immunity, so you can't debuff him, but he can't die. He literally can't drop below 1 HP. So I don't know, it's such an interesting character. Like, I do applaud them for some originality here, but he on paper, he seems ridiculous. Like, that seems very, very good. I don't know, it's kind of scaring me, and the fact that he's on the Bond team of all things is very concerning. But I don't know, we'll have to see how it goes. They get the characters tomorrow on JP. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of testing and stuff done. My biggest concern is that I don't really have the resources to invest into not only bringing the unknown team back up to level 100, but also the Bond team back up to 100, while still being able to mess with the other collab characters like Rim and Rom and Amelia. So I am a bit concerned about resources. But anyways, the banner is shit. Just gonna keep it blunt. They literally put every coin shop sin on the banner. I don't know why that is a thing that they have done, but it is all of the ReZero characters and all of the coin shop sins. Not a fan of that, but what can you do, really? I mean, these new characters, Reinhardt specifically, are pretty insane, so you're gonna want to summon probably regardless. I would honestly say that if you're not if you're not a fan of the Bond team, or you don't have Bond, or don't have the essential pieces to the Bond team, which it's not too hard to get Excalibur, Arthur, and especially Twigo, but if you don't have them like invested into or whatever, and you don't have the resources for it, I would say you probably could skip this entire collab if you don't have the unknown team stuff, if you don't have the human team stuff. But these are very exclusive characters, so at the same time you might want them for the future or whatever the case may be, because you know, at certain times, you know, some of these collab characters end up becoming good after the banner's gone. Like, people realize some potential in the character, figure out some crazy new strat that takes over the meta, and I don't know. So these, I mean, both of the characters, I think they're good. I like them, but I don't know. It like I said, I'm sort of on like the verge of not having resources enough for these two characters and their teams, so I can only imagine, like, as a free-to-play player, or you know, somebody who's low on diamonds or whatever the case may be, it might be hard to get both units and invest into the entirety. I'm not saying you shouldn't summon, but I'm saying that is something that you probably should take into account. The mileage is, of course, random SSR is 300, and then you can choose one of any of the collab characters at 600, which is good. Hopefully I can pull one of either of them and then get the guaranteed of the other one if possible, at the worst case scenario, so I don't have to do 2 rotations. But they're also giving away a free copy of Rim and Rom. Rom is going to be from a login event, and Rim is going to be from the special missions during the event, so that's already 2 coins if you played during the last collaboration and you already have both of the characters. So if you go through an entire rotation and you pull like an extra copy of Beatrice, or you pull an extra copy of Rim or Rom, or you know, Amelia, for example, if you're willing to trade that dupe in because her ult's kind of good, then you can literally you can do 1 rotation, grab the character. If you don't get lucky enough to get the other character, wait for the login event to be over with, grab that extra extra copy of Rom, and then you could just trade the 3 coins for the other character if you really wanted to. I feel like they're doing a pretty good job of keeping this one, or like giving away some pretty good stuff with this one, so I can't really complain too much about that. The relics are Echidna. Echidna's relic increases the hero's damage dealt to debuffed enemies by 35% and increases damage received, or decreases damage received by 15%. So that's pretty good, because you know, most of the characters that she's going to slot with, on the unknown team at least, already debuff. And you know, she already has an AoE debuff as well, so she's just going to make her other Sever card hit that much harder. Reinhard increases the hero's max HP by 6% and crit chance by 4% every time an ally uses a skill, limit to 5 times, which is, that's pretty concerning as well. That's a lot of crit chance and HP. So he is going to be pretty rough. During the showcase that they did, they definitely like threw the match by not, you know, getting or being able to freeze with, or not, I think they should have been able to double freeze Twigo and Amelia during the showcase that they did, and they probably would have been able to get a decent enough hand to kill Reinhardt off because he was low in the showcase. But I think they wanted to show him like his like comeback mechanic, I guess, like the ultimate being so crazy. So I don't know, he's very concerning to me. I know I keep saying that, but Amelia's relic is one that everybody was really interested in before this information was sort of given out. It increases the hero's damage dealt to frozen enemies by 100%, which I think is a good thing. I think that makes it to where you can either freeze somebody and attack them for big damage and get rid of the freeze so it's not super toxic, or it's going to make it to where if you have her ultimate in hand, because she has a secret technique card, which means that you do more damage depending on how many of her cards are in your hand, you could freeze beforehand, so that way the ult does more damage, but it's also going to knock, you know, a little bit of damage off of the ultimate because you're going to use it before, which means it's not in your hand anymore. So I think that they did a pretty good job with hers of making it not like incredibly broken, busted for a character who's already incredibly toxic. So I think that one was good. I like that one a lot. Rim is for every hero on the battlefield of the same race as the hero, so unknown, increases the hero's basic stats by 10%, which is pretty good. ROMs increases the hero's attack related stats by 30% when using Rupture skill, applies before skill activation. So literally just her AoE skill. That's fine. And then Beatrice is probably the best out of all of them if you're looking at it like objectively, but increases the hero's crit chance and crit damage by 80%. But unfortunately, Beatrice is very bad. So, oh well. Obviously, these are the same collab relics that they normally end up doing, or collab relic materials, so you'll get those through the events in the game. New costumes, of course, for Echidna and for Reinhard. I think they did a really good job of making them look good. Obviously, you have maid Echidna, you have like witch Echidna, and then you have sort of like a Japanese style, like, you know, Echidna, which is cool. This one looks nice. And then the Reinhard one, you have this one, which really looks like the Terry cosmetic, but with like a purple flare to it, which is funny. And then I do like these other two cosmetics as well. I think the night one fits him probably the best, but this one looks really nice. Gotta say, they did give him an eye patch, which I'm not a huge fan of eye patches on characters. It just kind of looks edgy and weird, but pretty cool. There's obviously 3 new cosmetics for these characters, and I was really concerned. I was like, oh, so they're not giving us a Rim cosmetic, but I completely forgot that during one of the events that they have in game, they're also going to be giving away a free UR cosmetic set for Rim, so you don't have to buy that one at all. But there is a new Egyptian cosmetic set for Amelia, and then another sort of Japanese style cosmetic for Rom, so that's cool. The old cosmetics are back. You can purchase those if you want. Some system changes. You can now check the grace of units. That's good. Bulk purchase in shops. That's fine. Bulk register XP potions. That's actually kind of cool, I guess, but I don't know. You can only register 30, so it doesn't really take too long to click through that, but I don't know. Maybe that's good. Bulk register Super Awakening coins as well. So they're trying to help, speed up the experience process of maxing out a character, which is good. It needs to be, sped up. Cook food on the spot. That's actually really nice. That's really annoying to have to run back to your tavern and stuff like that for that. Events. There is a login bonus event. This is where you get the free copy of ROM, and then the special missions is where you get the free copy of Rim, which is super nice. There's also collab events and a collab story. There is a bingo that goes on. This is where you get the 3 cosmetic pieces for the UR set for Rim, which is nice. It's like almost like a Roman sort of like gladiator-esque like outfit, which I think is actually kind of cool. Of course, there's other rewards and stuff in there too. 2 of the Holy Relic, or the collab Holy Relics, are in here. Event Boss of the Great Rabbit. So this is from the season 2 of the show, and they showed off a little bit of gameplay of it, and it actually looked pretty interesting. It didn't look like overly hard or anything. The CC requirement seemed pretty high for like just hard difficulty, which is what they played on. But yeah, you get some free cosmetics and stuff like that. The Holy Relics is in here at the I think this is the 9 clears mark. There is a UR pendant in here, which is kind of cool. 3 SSR pendants, so whatever. I don't know, that'll help a little bit here and there. And then there's also going to be a King Exchange event going on as well, which is that's pretty good. I do like the King Exchange event. It's always really nice. A bunch of growth support event stuff. Of course, they do that pretty much for most of the festivals, so it looks like they're also going to be doing it for this collab as well. Engraved 50% less fee is kind of nice, so you can make engraved equipment cheaper. There is a new Hawk Pass as well, where they're giving away a pajama set for Freyr, so that's kind of nice, I guess. Unfortunately, I think I already have all of the cosmetics that I need for him, so not really needed at this point. But if you missed out and you didn't purchase the summer like swimsuit set for him, then you can probably buy these cosmetics to max out your cosmetics for him, which is nice. A couple of other things that have already sort of been out that are sort of good, I guess. And that's pretty much it. So those are the extended patch notes for the translated JP patch notes from Grand Cross Database. There is, if you ever need this stuff, there's a link in the description for Grand Cross Database, because I find it such a useful website, and they normally stay on top of things as soon as, like, on the day of, the things coming out most of the time. So if you need to go do that, feel free to look it up. in the description. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, because these characters do seem a little interesting. I think that they are good for their respective teams, so it's gonna be a fun one. I think I'm just really hoping that Reinhard doesn't make the Bond team overpower the meta like it used to, but he looks insane. So either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you have not already, and I'll see you in the next one.